Are you a sports fanatic? You get off on college football, college basketball, the NBA, the NFL, golf, ping pong, and sports betting. Wait, back up. Ping pong? What the hell? This is Jump Shots from the Goal Line.
Watch out! He's got getting away from the top speed.
Hot takes and hilarious banter on everything from college football to the NBA and everything in between, except ping pong. And we're not just flying solo. We're bringing in some heavy hitters from the world of sports. Journalists, players, legends. You name it, we've got them. Why should they have all the fun?
Bryant for the win. Bang!
This is Jump Shots from the Goal Line. Where every episode is a slam dunk. And now your hosts, Jonathan Dugan and John Henningsen.
Yo, welcome everybody to the show. I'm super excited. We have a really just banging episode for you today. For all you guys that already know, me and Henny both went to the prestigious University of Arizona. I was there from 2011 to 2014. I was lucky enough to have our distinguished guest be a huge part of the football team during my time there. Blessed me with some incredible memories. Henny was already a little past due from the U of A, but hey, he was all part of it anyway. We got Tremaine Bondurant on the show, everybody. A little throwback for you. Former great. I believe so. I think you're a legend of the game, man. Welcome to the show.
Man, thanks for having me, man. And I appreciate those words, man. I'm a legend. Let's just put it out there. Let's try to talk that into existence, man. But much love to you guys, man. Dope introduction as well.
Thank you. I'll put it this way, man. I've been watching the Cats for as long as I can remember, and there aren't too many ball magnets quite like Tremaine Bondurant. I swear to God, it felt like every game, and especially the big games, you were around the ball, bro. Like, talk me through that. Like, you just had a natural nose for the ball. Like, where does that come from?
Man, I mean, being very instinctive. I think it has a lot to do with where I grew up, and like being able to, like, where I'm from, we play all sports. So we play baseball, basketball, football, play ball all year round. And then, when you're growing up playing Pop Warner or youth football, you play all these different positions, you play different spots. But the key thing to, being around the ball, one thing, I love the game. I love, making plays. I always felt like, the people I watched and grew up on, the people that I always idolized, it was all about the ball, making a play, doing something to change the game for your team. And then my secret has always been, before I got to U of A, I played quarterback my whole life. So, and I'm talking about real quarterback, went to all the Elite 11 camps, just a full-blown quarterback. So, when I was out there on defense, man, and even coming into Arizona, I had a couple of schools that wanted me to play quarterback, smaller schools. But, I mean, obviously I wanted to go to U of A. It was one of the biggest schools that offered me. And I knew I wasn't going to play quarterback. Nick Foles was there at the time. He's prototypical big size, and that's my dog. Shout out Nick Foles. Great career, great person as well. Somebody that vouched for me to get on the field. So always got mad love for Nick Foles. And they told me I was playing defense, and I was just like, once I got used to it and started practicing, we got in pads, and you realize, like, okay, it's all the same. It's a mind thing, is what you think. And once I got, I remember my first practice in summer camp, once we had pads, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. So that was my cheat code, man. I knew when a quarterback elbow turned his shoulder. I knew the tendencies of a quarterback, and just having instincts was my cheat code. So I was blessed to have that.
I love that. We actually have our first comment on the show. Talby231 says, Nick also has a great nickname. You're familiar with the nickname, right?
Foles?
Yeah.
Man, I might not be familiar with it. I know I used to call him, me personally, I used to call him the white god, because he was athletic in basketball. A lot of people don't know this about Nick Foles, but this dude was super good in basketball. I mean, the quarterback you see on the field is not the hooper, man. He's jumping, catching alley hoops, very athletic. So I used to call him white guy. Just, that was our joke. That was our thing.
Bro, he used to tear it up at the rec. I used to hear rumors about that all the time, just dunking on
man,
fools.
I'm telling you, man, like I was surprised because I was a hooper too. I was a real hooper.
Yeah.
Was player of the year in high school and hoop and all of that. Like I loved it. That was our thing when we had our downtime. Go to the rec, go hoop, kind of bond and build them relationships. And I found out quick, like, man, this dude can hoop, man. So I used to be on his team a lot too.
I love that, man. Well, just to give you a little bit of context, it's okay that you don't know his nickname. We interviewed Ja'Cory Merrick Croskett. That's coming on. He's coming from New Mexico. He's going to be on the squad next year. One of the best running backs in the country. He also didn't know the nickname, but I think it's because Nick got the nickname once he was in Philly. It's Big Blank, Big Blank Nick. If you can think of what rhymes with Nick, that's what it was. So
yeah. I don't know about that one. Shout out whoever gave the nickname, man.
Yeah. But hey, man, it's cool that you keep mentioning that you were like this huge athlete. I believe it, because one of the most common comments I got from when we shouted out that we were bringing on the show was like, man, Jermaine just felt like he was the prototypical like athlete. Like when they look at college, football recruiting, high school recruiting, and they just list somebody as an athlete, you were like the prototypical guy for that. Somebody made the comment that you could have played every single position on defense. Now you're saying you could probably play quarterback. Like,
sure.
That's incredible, man. Why don't you walk me through? You're from Vallejo, California, right?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you walk me through kind of what was your childhood like?
Honestly, bro, like, I mean, I love my city, Vallejo. We grew up in poverty, low income, you know how it is. And I was born in 93. So when I was a young man coming up in that 2000s, early 2000s, that was like the end of like that crack era. Yeah. That was kind of like, that terrorized families. I know my family was one that was super affected by it.
Sure.
So, I grew up around that type of environment, but a great environment, a lot of love, real community. I feel like us in that area, we're like the last of the kids and the adults now that kind of got the discipline, the structure, just all them, the morals, the values, grandparents, your uncles and your aunties, they could have crazy situations, but always be there for you, always there to, check you when you're doing something wrong. So like my childhood wasn't horrible. You know what I mean? Obviously I didn't have everything I wanted, but my parents, my dad was in prison. So I had a single mom. I was raised by my grandmother. I was raised by the neighborhood. I was raised by my uncles, my aunties, the whole family grouping. But like, it's just like any other kid in the inner city coming from poverty, you're just trying to make it out.
Yeah.
Sports was always an avenue. I had family members that did music. I was around that a lot. But childhood was great, man, as far as, just, when you're a kid, you don't think about nothing, you don't have no worries. So all I wanted to do was play sports and be like the guys on TV.
Sure.
And that's all I did, man. Play sports, travel the world, playing AAU, playing travel baseball, playing Pop Warner, just having all those experiences. So now I'm just trying to, with being a coach now, just trying to give back to the kids just like me that experienced what I experienced going through what I went through. And,
yeah,
I've been that kid before, so I understand. So that's what makes everything I'm doing now, everything's full circle. So it's a blessing.
I love that, man. We got Talby back in the chat again. He says Vallejo Pop Warner Raiders were a problem to play against. Were you on that squad?
I was on that squad, baby. Yeah. Hey, that's dope to hear that. That's dope. I played on the Vallejo Raiders, Pop Warner. I played 3 years there, and then I went my midget year. My last year, I played for the Vallejo Generals, which was kind of like more in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But the Vallejo Raiders, man, we legendary. A lot of great players come out of there. One that most people would know is C.J. Anderson.
Okay.
That played.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he was, I grew up. We from the same neighborhood, same area. We both played on there. A lot of, man, I'm telling you, whoever that is, shout out, bro. Hit me in the DMs, bro. Because for you to know that's legendary.
That's awesome.
I want to ask, just kind of keeping it on the timeline, and I know we want to get to what, bring this whole thing full circle for you and hear your story today. But I'm curious then from like that childhood and then growing up and then what it's like being recruited and maybe like how you're, whether you want to tell it from the vantage point of how your family helped influence you, what it was like just being recruited, whatever you feel like is a good part of that story, kind of leave it open to you in terms of how you want to share.
Man, honestly, recruitment was crazy. You grow up and you watching Reggie Bush and college and all this stuff, and you don't know the process, because like there really was nobody before me that got recruited. The only person that you guys might know that went to U of A was DeLaShawn Dean. We went to the same high school, so I knew that he was older than me, way older, like 3-4 years older than me. But like just seeing him go to U of A and like seeing somebody being able to do it, what made it kind of like, okay, it's possible for me. I remember after my junior season, like I broke all the records, man, all in the city, the county. Had a great year. My first year on varsity as like starting quarterback, I played my sophomore year when the senior got hurt and kind of made my name early. But like had a terrific season. Then I come out of there. I don't know nothing about how to get recruited. Our school didn't get a lot of guys out. And it was just kind of like, all right, I'm coming out this season. I'm going to play hoop. I got no letters, no nothing. So I don't understand the process. So I'm like, man, like, what do I got to do to get recruited? I know I'm in the newspaper all the time. Not that meant everything to me, but I was like, these factors where I'm like, man, I should be getting looked at in some manner. And, we always had the Reno, Nevada, and like, the smaller schools that were always on us. We used to go to their camp every year. So they always knew about us. So I knew about a little bit of that part, but like somebody coming to your school, coming to your house, I didn't get that experience until I was just like, maybe I should make a highlight tape. So I made a highlight tape. Me and shout out Coach Ott. I got to give him his credit because without him, I probably would have never got recruited, or maybe other schools probably wouldn't have seen me, have heard of me. So he helped me with that. I made a highlight tape. I gave it to my coach. Coach Jack was my head coach at the Fairfield High. And we just started mailing them out, man, sending them, getting the addresses, sending them out. And Arizona was one school that like got back to me fast. And just started reaching out. I started getting letters at home. So now I'm starting to experience oh man, I got a letter. You know what I'm saying? It's this whole different, now it's a whole different vibe. It's a whole different thing now. So I'm like, okay, this is what it's like. And then next thing you know, you start getting called. And once Arizona reached out to me and started showing me love, then a couple other schools started coming along, like Washington State, Fresno State already had early. But I didn't have a lot of offers. A lot of people didn't reach out to me, but Arizona recruited me as an athlete. Like I said, I had the connection with De La Dean going there. So it made it like, okay, these guys have that little bridge right there to come across and mess with me. Then they start coming to my school, man, and calling me. And then, eventually it got to the point where you commit and then they come to your house and sit with your family. Yeah. My grandmother made them food and, just the whole thing. So it like in the beginning, it was like frustrating because like I said, I didn't know the process and I kind of thought like, man, maybe I might not get recruited. Maybe I might have to take another route, you know what I'm saying? And then work my way up. But once it got rolling and I got to experience it and go on my visit and, go to a whole nother state and see the campus and kind of, I really fell in love with it even more after that. Like it made me so ready to go and get to the school. And Arizona showed me the most love. They was the most consistent. They came to my basketball games. They would just show up randomly in my quad at my school, just random, wouldn't even tell me. Shout out.
Who was showing up the most? Who was showing up the most back then? Like who was like you're heavily recruiting you?
Coach Hammersmith.
Okay.
He made sure I came to Arizona, and I love him. I still talk to him, like on Facebook and stuff. Now he'll like comment on some things that I'm doing. And now that he's seeing I'm back at the U of A, he loves it. But yeah, man, Coach Hammer is a great man. Like he was persistent. He was on me like, don't even think about going to these other schools. Don't even try. We want you bad. And then, like I said, when Coach Stoops came to my living room, I mean, right then and there, I was like, this is where I'm going. I didn't tell him then, but
Visor? Did he go visor? No visor?
No visor. No
No
visor.
visor. Okay.
Nice,
All right.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, freshly haircut. They was fly. Came, they came the right way. They made me feel wanted, and that's what every recruit wants, man. You wanna know, like, when you going somewhere that they genuinely want you there, whether you get there right away and play or not. Just knowing that they're putting in that time and that effort to come get you is a blessing.
Yeah, just feeling wanted for sure. What was it like playing with Coach Stoops? Because we look at Coach Stoops back in the day, and I mean, he brought some of the highest level of success on the recruitment trail. He, took us to a Holiday Bowl. Like, what was that like?
Man, Coach Stoops was a different guy. Like, but I loved him. Like, he was all about earning his respect. Like, that was his big thing. Unfortunately, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him. Coming into my freshman year, I'm a freshman. I'm coming from the bottom up. So all the time I got with him was usually walking through the McHale Center or at practice when I make a play. And like, even when I tried to, even when I could have had the best practice possible, he was like a guy where he'll show you your love in small portions. He'll walk by you, tap you on the shoulder,
Yeah.
good job today, and they won't say nothing else and just keep walking. And but I already understood him, early when I got there. Like, he wants you to earn his respect. He wants you to work to, get to that point where you can have conversations with him, where you can have an input. And I respected that. I come from that type of creed of football, and earning your respect, and
Sure.
let your play do the talking, and let everything on film, show up for you. And that's what I tried to do coming in my freshman year, was just like make a name for myself early. And I know I had his respect for sure. I had, like I mentioned with Foles, someone that would give me love after a practice or during a practice. I would get an interception on him or get an interception on another quarterback. Bondurant needs to be out there. He needs to be playing. So,
Yeah.
But Stoops was a good guy, man. He saved my life. He gave me an opportunity that, most coaches didn't give me. And a lot of the young men coming from anywhere you come from, whether you suburban or inner city, middle class, getting a scholarship where no matter where you're from is a blessing. And I don't knock anybody for that, because, these coaches don't have to do that.
Who were some of the guys on the team that you kind of leaned on your freshman year that kind of made Jermaine Bondurant who he is, by the end of you're into the run at U of A?
Man, coming in, Jonathan McKnight was somebody that was big. I was very close to Shaquille Richardson, Jordan Grandin, Jared Tevis was somebody that was my dog. I mean, he was a year older than me, but that was somebody that I connected with. I mean, all the Stoops guys, man. You got me. I mean, me and Kadeem came in together, so that was my dog.
Yeah.
My roommate Cortez Johnson from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And then like some older guys, Marquise Flowers was my dog, man. Marquise will always be my dog. He's like a huge reason why I played. Nick Foles, obviously, Jerron Kreiner.
Yeah.
I could listen to these names forever, man.
Yeah,
we love
man,
these. Love this roster. Like, we were going through it. It's kind of like, I remember your path. Like, I feel like I remember it like crystal clear. But then as soon as I look back, I have to be like, who did he overlap with exactly? And man, we're going through that roster, and I'm like, I love these teams.
Yeah.
Like, these teams, like, I love, like, so many of the guys you just mentioned were like, just guys we were fans of. I mean, it was a fun era, man. I mean, and I'm sure Dugan wants to ask more about it, but I could just listen to you rattle off these names off the roster because they all bring a smile to my face, you included. It's like, I just love this era of Arizona football.
I got one more question for you from your freshman year. This is one that came up a lot when we were asking people. Freshman year playing UCLA, right?
Yes,
you mentioned Shaq Richardson, right? He kind of got into it, but there was also something else that happened that day too. The infamous streaker that ran onto the field.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through just the chaos of what that game was and kind of like what happened with the brawl? Like, what was your reaction to the streaker? What was that?
So like this, so I'm gonna dig into this because like this game is special to me. With
It's
all
legendary
the
to fans.
with all the stuff that happened on the field and all of that, like this game was super important to me because it was the first game that I actually played.
And you played well.
And I remember that's when Coach Stoops had got fired. We had a team meeting, and they everybody's like, man, what's going on? It's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys were just nervous, for many reasons why. There's other reasons why too. But you get the team meeting, boom, coach is gone. Now now I'm like, damn, what do I do? Like, this is the guy that recruited me. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that came into my house. And then I didn't know that, when one guy gets fired, the staff stays. So, so now I'm like, oh man, now I'm thinking transfer, there's all these other things going on. So then I remember we come into our meeting on Monday, and but I remember that Sunday when we had the meeting and they told us he was fired, I went straight to Coach Hammer and was like, hey, find a way to get me on the field, please. Like, I'm on the sideline watching Andrew Luck and all these guys play. I'm like, man, all I wanted to do was pick Andrew Luck up, play against, Michael James and seeing these guys. I'm like, man, like I just was at home watching these guys.
Yeah.
So then I told Coach Hammer, and next thing you know, we come in next day, we got a whole new defense in, and I'm in. And all it was me sit in the middle of the defense and run the ball down because UCLA at that time, they had a good running game. So we wanted to stop their running game and Miles Jack and all these people.
Yeah.
So so then we get there, now as a team, we trying to change our mind and trick our minds to like getting ready for the game because it's like our coach is gone. A lot of guys, seniors, guys that had this connection with him, they don't know what's going to happen now. They don't have this guy to represent them with everything. So things did change, and the one change was me playing. And then we get out to the game, man. The game was crazy. I remember coming out, the kickoff, I got the tackle. And then I'm like, all right, first play, they run the ball, I get the tackle. Next play, I get the tackle. Next play, I get the tackle. Then now this is my first experience in college ball where I'm like, oh, I'm here. I belong here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, okay, I basically made 3 tackles, caused them to punt. I'm here. Like, my confidence went through the roof. And I was confident in camp. But like after that, it was crazy. And then the game was going good. We were playing great. The game was lopsided at some points, and then next thing you know, all you hear is a whistle. You just hear whistle blowing. So we all looking because the whistle is everything. So we looking around. Next thing you know, I see this guy running by, just streaking by. I'm like, man, what is going on? So, we all laughing and stuff because it's just funny. We know he gonna get caught. We know the security will get him.
Yeah.
So it was just a crazy moment. And then next thing you know, now the fight is breaking out.
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing the fight break out. Shaq, my dog, he was from LA. So a lot of them guys, he knew them or, probably had previous high school beefs on the field. So, it translated to the game, and, we just start having our guys back. I know after that, it was like, all right, let's get down, with all the chaos and everything going on, we got to get down. I remember pushing people put, it's a lot going on. We swinging on people, it's so much going on. And, the game finally eventually got calmed down and everything chilled. And then we ended up winning that game. And then my career started from then on. Like, that was my career. That was the start of.
That was your coming out party.
That was my coming out party. And, I always think about that game. Like, even when I'm at the U of A, I'll be like, man, like, that game started everything for me because after that game, it was like, oh, I'm here, man. Like, I used to talk my mess in camp and stuff, like, because how I get in camp before camp is, because I didn't get to do spring. I graduated, took my cap and gown off, got in the car and drove to Arizona. So I came in summertime camp. I was there. We was doing a little 7-on-7 stuff, without pads. You can't really tell the tale without the pads. So guys be talking trash. Our freshmen don't play, and you only had a couple of offers and all of that, and then you learn as you get there. Like, man, this thing ain't nothing different but more muscles at the end of the day. It's just
Yeah.
that's the only difference, man. So, and this guy's that bench way more than me and did way more than me when it came to that. But when it's time to get on that field and put them pads on, I'm gonna show up every time.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that, man. So then, like, obviously, then the next year, Rich Rod comes in, right? I mean, huge change in the system. Now you're running a 3-3-5, which, I'd love to know your thoughts on the 3-3-5 because me and Henny are both kind of like,
Yeah,
Jeff Castile.
Yeah.
What was that transition like, man, to go from, I feel like Stoops was pretty pro, like pro system, and then Rich Rod was like kind of gimmicky almost.
Yeah. So the transition, I honestly, it's a battle, right? Because it's like now there's this whole new staff that I have to impress. Like I'm trying to get recruited again. So, I come out of the season, kind of an honorable mention, like freshman All-American after only playing 6 games. So I'm building the name and my teammates that, I went through the fire with, you know, everybody's brand new now. We're starting over. So it was like, man, getting that playbook, learn their system, try to get to know them, and show them who you are. But at the end of the day, the film speaks. So it was definitely a different, like you said, he was, me personally, I feel it was gimmicky, the 3-3-5. I like Coach Castillo though, so I'll give him his credit.
Yeah. Very respected coach for sure.
Yeah, I always liked the Coach Castillo as far as like his mentality. And I know he loved me, but I know there was in my opinion, like there were things that he really wanted to do with me that he wasn't allowed to do with me.
Sure.
So but like that defense, it was cool. I just think we didn't have the personnel to be successful in it. We didn't have these great D linemen that were just huge and
You had Parker
300
Zellers,
and,
bro.
you know what I'm saying?
So
Exactly.
if you're gonna put 3 guys on the line, you need 3 big eaters. Yeah, I mean
you need 3 huge men. So we never had the personnel to like really be sick, like a great defense in it, even though we had some great seasons. But I just think like they never really put us in a great position to be successful. And I think that's why I stood out a lot, because no matter what system you put me in, I'm gonna make a play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just have that knack for it, and I don't, it's not cocky, it's just confidence and like being honest, like being in the system and loving the game and really understanding like what goes into it and studying and learning coverages and indicators and certain alignments and formations and what you're going to get and where is this receiver lined up. So this is his only options if he runs a route. So like as I learned the game more my sophomore year and like dove into like really understanding football, because nobody really taught me the X's and O's of football. We grew up in the era where be tough. You know what I'm saying? Be tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go out there and be tougher than the other team. Be a dog. That's it. We didn't really get trained and all of that stuff. So like a lot of this stuff I was learning in college, like on the fly, like figuring it out, like as I started noticing, like, okay, I belong here, so I got to learn this stuff more. And I just think they limited us. Like, I think it was so much more that we could have did.
Yeah.
I think a lot more players could have stood out more, but I think they triggered their defense and their offense around like their recruits and who they wanted to see have
the
success.
OKGs. Yeah.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm,
we'll say it for you, bro.
The OKGs,
yeah, we know.
The guys that, that he recruited and he liked. But like I said, man, we made it work with what we had, and all we could do was go out there and do our best, because like I said, I think we had a lot of talent. I think we had guys that should have been playing that weren't playing. I think there were guys that were playing that shouldn't have been playing. I think some guys were out of position, just based on them just wanting to do things their way. But, salute to them, but, I definitely think with Stoops, it was more like it was getting you more pro ready. You know what I'm saying? To where even on defense and offense, like you were, I felt like I was playing at a higher level when I was with them. When I was with Rich Rod, it was just like, all right, I'm so good at what I do that this shit is easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my position was like the spot that I actually was in, which was called the Spur, and it was a money sign.
Yeah, I was gonna say here. Yeah.
It was just perfect for what I did. I mean, I basically played that same position with Stoops, the nickel corner safety. But I mean, that position was tailor made for somebody like me. And then I love tackling. Like I wanted to hit, I wanted to make noise with the pads, I wanted to be around everything. So
And you did.
yes, sir.
Yeah, you were so versatile, man. It makes so much sense that you like obviously were in the position that you were in, but you're the exact guy that would play in these like 4-2-5 defenses now and like absolutely kill. Like I mean, you're like the prototype of what they're looking for now. So it's kind of crazy. You might have just been too soon, man. I mean, not that like it didn't go great anyways, but you know, like it's I don't know. I just think about your skill set and it's kind of drives me crazy because I know like what you are and like where the game's gone, and you're such a like natural fit for so many of those positions now. But that's just me dreaming for you, I guess.
Man, I appreciate that though, because that's true. Like I say it all the time, like how when I was in college, like I had a personality. I made the team, like, because like with Rich Rod, we had fun, but like honestly, nobody was really happy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was just like it was their way. You know what I mean? And so I was that guy at practice that danced around, made jokes, made practice fun. I was that guy in the locker room. Like if any teammate of mine would tell you, man, everybody loved Tremaine. He was funny. He was a character. He always kept people smiling, even through all of the stuff we had to go through in that process. You know what I'm saying? We tried to keep our head up. I mean, I went through a lot of things in that process, but it's just like, I always tell myself, bro, I was too early. Like what I was doing, and like even athletes standing up for themselves, doing things outside of just football and having hobbies and wanting to, venture off and being more than just this football player that's ran into the ground and you do what I say. This, you know what I mean? Like I was starting that, you know what I mean? And then when I was doing it, it was looked at as bad, or you're not focused, or now these guys can be, models, rappers, whatever, anything YouTubers, whatever they want to be, influencers, and still play ball. So like you said, it's a perfect thing. Like, I mean, my family tell me, but it's something that I always tell myself, like I was just too early. I was ahead of the game, but now I'm able to be on the other side of that fence, and anybody coming up that I can help, I'll be there to assist them.
Yeah.
Always a reason.
And so obviously you guys were very successful though, like you said, right? You made bowl games, I feel like every single year, right? New Mexico Bowl, the one that was in Baton Rouge, I can't remember what it was called, but y'all went there. Yeah. And then finally 2014 happens, right? Kind of an up and down year for you though, right? Like you start the year out, you get dismissed from the team for one practice. Let's keep it a buck. Then you come back onto the team and you have a huge year. Like, what was that year like for you? So many ups and downs. I'm sure emotionally, like you look back at that year and you're like, man, like I did some great things, but I bet I probably could have done even more.
Yeah, I mean, again, so this is, I mean, I haven't really even spoken on this publicly, like more in detail, but, I feel like I owe it, especially to you guys and people that's involved into the university. And it's no ill will, it's no towards anybody, but I'm gonna just give my side because I know there was a side put out there that I never spoke on and stood up for myself on. I just, I jumped back on the team and I just did my part. But basically, in my junior year, so the whole time Rich Rod was there, he was trying to replace me as far as like with his recruits.
Sure.
And the Coach Gibson, right? So I don't know if you guys remember Tony Gibson was on our staff my sophomore year. He was the safeties coach, and Coach Gibson was one of my favorite guys that I experienced in college, even though it was 1 year, but like he was just a real dude. Like he knew how good I was. He knew how special I was. And there was no knock to anybody else in our safeties room, but he just knew like, this is our guy. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that y'all need to watch and, look as you're coming up behind him. Like, this is the guy you need to be, checking out and like, and attaching to the hip to. And he ended up getting fired, you know, like when Rich Rod came after my sophomore year, I did my thing. So they wanted to, you know, they were basically on some like, you know, they getting their guys in now. So they're trying to see like as many of these Stoops guys we can get out of here. Let's try to get them out. And that starts from our training. I'm not saying college training is hard. It's not easy. Obviously now they take care of the players 100 times more. So, you know, there is a little difference in now from then and now. But I mean, they were running this. I mean, I'm talking about like I watched so many of my teammates that I came in with just leave the team or just quit because they just didn't want to be a part of nothing Rich Rod had to do in their staff. Like, and I feel like they came in with the mindset of like destroying instead of building.
Right.
And they just was trying to get people out. And I think I was one of those guys because, you know, I didn't really, can I cuss on here or anything?
Yeah, dude, go right
Say
ahead.
whatever you want to say. Yeah.
I'm just making sure, man.
Yeah, I appreciate
like,
you, but
I didn't kiss ass. Like I was the guy like when we did like, because I started noticing like these guys aren't teaching us anything. You know, we're just here to learn their playbook, learn their hard edge and their OKG style. And, you know, now we can't be who we are. You know what I'm saying? We got to, you know, it's like you're handicapped. And I just wasn't one of those guys. I never was like that. I always was me. Like, you know, I always acted who I was all the time. And I remember like our off-season workouts when they would be like, we would have like the off-season training where it wasn't mandatory. You know, you can show up or you don't. For that little period where you have that, and like I would go do my own workouts because like I wanted my feet work to be better. I wanted, you know, my hips to be more fluid. I wanted to just know football more. I'm watching other schools and people and colleges and people getting trained. I'm like, I'm not learning none of this. So, and you know, at practice you're going periods, so your individual periods aren't that long, so you aren't really sharpening your game, you know, as far as like for your individual position. So like I started doing that. I started getting flack for that, you know, like, you know, oh man, and you know, you supposed to be here and all this. So like they were trying to use those little things to like try to weed me out. You know what I'm saying? Then shout out my boy Will Parks. He was one of their guys that they liked, that they recruited. And I love Wills, and I'm making that clear. And he know that. I don't really gotta explain it, but he was like my youngin'. He was my young boy, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, and even he didn't even really want to do this. It's like they forced him to do it. So like through those years, they kept trying to replace me, and then they fired Coach, you know, and I'm just like Coach Gibson, and it was out of nowhere. Nobody knew. We just had a meeting. There's like, oh, Coach Gibson won't be here anymore. So I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't called me. Like, we close. I talk to this dude all the time. Like, he ain't reached out to me, so something's wrong. So I reach out to him. He tells me straight up, like, you know, they didn't want me there. They didn't want, you know, I'm going back home to where I left from. And he was just like, you know, he said it without saying it. Like, I wanted to keep playing you, and I wanted to keep you as our guy. And I don't think that's what their vision is. So they're trying to figure out a way to, if they get rid of me, then maybe they can make that move. So then the next year comes as I'm going into my junior year. As you know, I have a great year. And I mean, it was clear, like, you have to play me. You can't take me. You can't take me out of the lineup. You know what I'm saying? And then leading up to the incident of the senior year, where at the end of my junior year, my cousin got killed back home.
Right.
And so, you know, and that was somebody that I was really close to, that meant a lot to me. And I remember they were trying to say I was lying about going home because one of my stepbrothers had got shot, and I went home to see him, and like he was pronounced dead. But then when I got there, you know, the news is Vallejo. So Vallejo, the way they operate in the newspaper police, they do it their way. And so I went to go visit my brother. I come back, they're trying to use that against me. And then like with my cousin dying, it was like I was trying to go to the funeral, and they tell me, you can go to the funeral, and if you go, just stay there and go die like your cousin did in your city.
Wow.
or you can stay here. And basically, the only way you would be able to stay on this team is if you stay here. So, that was my ultimate, you know what I mean? So I stayed at the bowl game because we were at the bowl game,
Yeah.
the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. So I remember we were having like this team event. It was in the big auditorium, and I had to watch my cousin's funeral on FaceTime outside. And I just cried for like 30 minutes outside by myself. And then went back in. So now this is the end of the year. So with already them having that goal of moving me, you know what I'm saying? Because, and I want to say this just to bring this into the story, because going into my sophomore year, it was me and Marquise Flowers were battling for the Spurs spot. Marquise was bigger than me. He was 6'2", 230-ish at that time. So it made sense for him to go play the linebacker and then play the Spur. And he vouched for me to where he went to the coaches and said, Tremaine should be the Spur and he should be playing because he's better than me at the Spur. And we want to get all the best guys on the field, and that's what makes sense. So that helped me get my spot. Even though in spring and camp, I was showing clearly that I should have been in the number one. But I was humble. I wasn't tripping. I knew I had to work for it. So that's what I did it every day. I worked for it. But so fast forwarding, we get to this point, and then the bowl game's over. They tell me, I should stay in Arizona. I shouldn't go back home. It's the violence, all that stuff. So I took their word. I stayed. And stayed there. They're like, you're going to be a senior. We need you to. So they trying to butter me up, basically, like, you're going to be a senior, man. It's a senior year. We need you to be a senior leader. We want you to be here all through the spring and summer. So guys, you're a senior. The guys can see who you are and our recruits and all of that. So, of course, I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'll stay here. I'll sacrifice never, not going home, because I wasn't the guy that always got a chance to go home. My parents wasn't, well off enough to come to all my games as well. So anytime somebody came to my game, that was huge. So I stayed there the whole time. I'm there this whole spring camp. I'm in great shape. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Everything they asked me to do, I did 100% of it. Every single thing they asked of me. So one of my high school friends that I used to do music with, Sage the Gemini, he had a show in Phoenix. And this is the end of camp. So camp is over. We have our little week off, and then we back to, all right, it's full blown fall camp. So on my break, I go on over just for a weekend. I go to my friend's show, had a good time. I come back on Monday. They're like, oh, you're not focused. You're going to concerts and, all this stuff. And, you're hanging out with rappers and this and all that. And I'm like, Coach, I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm on vacation at this point, right? I've done everything y'all asked of me. I've been here the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with me going to go see my friend that's successful in music and supporting him, and I'm just at a show. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I was on camera doing something bad, and it was like none of that. So it was like, and I remember one of my teammates, I ain't gonna say his name, but he kind of like told the coaches I was there. I wasn't hiding it. Like, I was posting it.
Yeah.
I'm with my friend. So I'm not hiding it or nothing. Obviously I know not to put certain things on camera or anything like that. I'm not we all know the game. So, you know what I mean? So so that was weird. Right. And then I come in, Rich Rod wants to meet with me. And this is right before. So this is when camp is like 2 days away.
Right.
We about to start practicing. He wants to meet with you. I come up to his office. So the first thing they bringing up the show. That's the first thing he brings up. Me going to the show. And then they're bringing up, and I was like, they bring up, oh, your neighborhood and all this and all that. And I'm like, well, I've been here the whole time, Coach. I've been here for all spring, all of summer. I've been here. You know what I'm saying? I'm the best. Like, I'm feeling the best I've felt, you know what I'm saying, since I've been there.
Right.
Because I was just like, even though my sophomore and junior year, like, I felt my best as well, but I'm like, I'm a senior, I'm growing into my body. You know what I mean? Like, I'm becoming the player that I really know I'm going to be. So I'm sitting with him. He's saying these things. We're going back and forth. And then here comes the truth, right? Here comes the whole real point of it, of all of this nitpicking at me to try to make it seem like, because y'all know, y'all was around. When has Tremaine ever been a problem?
Never.
So I've never, nothing's ever came up about me being a problem. Teammates didn't like me. It's never been a problem until my senior year. You wait till my senior year to come and bring me in your office to tell me, look, man, as a staff, we already made the decision to move Will to the Spurs spot, and we're gonna move you to the Will linebacker. You're basically playing the same position. You're just in the box more because you can tackles, and we need you to, just stuff like that. And I'm like, so my first reaction was I knew this was coming. So like my reaction was like, hell no. You know what I mean? Like why would I give up my position in my senior year where I've been making my name at, and I'm basically, as of now, when we watching the game, I'm the impact player that's coming up. I'm have a chance to go to the league and change my entire life and my family's life.
Yeah.
So this is my biggest year. When this, and this is my dog, which I had no ill will to him, but it's like he got another year.
Yeah.
So he has another year to come prove himself and do more. And I'm better than him. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, it's the truth. Like, I love him, and I would tell him that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, the only person on that defense that, that was electric like me was Scooby. But all in all, he gave me an ultimatum again, told me straight up, like, I was like, well, look, coach. So I gave him a good option. Like, look, if he beat me out in camp and he has a better camp than me, then he can have a position. I'll play wherever y'all want me to play. They tried to use. That's why I brought up Marquise Flowers, because he was like, well, Marquise did it for you. He moved his position so you could play. And I'm like, but coach, I was better than Marquise. You know what I'm saying? At that position, like, you would have had him in a position where he wouldn't have success. It made sense for me to be there, which it clearly did. So, he tells me that. I'm telling him, like, if he beat me at camp, he was like, I don't give a damn what you say. Like, we already made this decision as a staff, so you can either do it or you can go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he told me. And, like, my initial reaction was like, fuck it, I'm going somewhere else. Like, so that was our conversation. And it was like, he just told me straight up, like, I'm giving your position away. There's nothing you can do about it. And as we're leading up to all of this, like, even the strength coaches and certain coaches walking by me like, yeah, we might need you at backer so we can have our best players on the field. But I'm like, y'all all in for this kid because y'all recruited him, and he's y'all guy. And I love and respect him, you know what I'm saying? But he not me. You know what I'm saying? But I know y'all invested in him, and I get it, you know what I'm saying? But it just don't make sense. He should have been playing corner, you know what I'm saying? Which would have made our defense 10 times better, because he was 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? He had the size. So he should have been playing cornerback that year when we had Jarvis McCall, number 29, and number 13 was, them two were switching off corner. He could have easily been in that position and made it 10 times better. You know what I'm saying? Because he would have started because he was better than those two guys. You know what I'm saying? Those guys were young. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? They were still trying to learn the game. So, but again, they put them out there in a position to lose, to not look good, because they're trying to force feed their guys into the lineup. And, like, some games that cost us, like some games, like, we really could have been way better throughout Rich Rod's tenure if the right guys were playing. And that's just from coming from a guy that was on the field. Like,
you know
what I'm saying? If the right
those questions
guys were
showed
playing,
up eventually, those questions showed up for everyone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it worked out that way. So, I mean, well, I'm glad. Hey, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to, like, put a bow on with it, but I mean, I will say, like, in doing some research about you and looking back, I hope you don't feel that anyone has a bad taste in your mouth or that you got a raw deal in that story, because I really don't think when you look back, it just looks like, hey, this kid had some, like, other, and I say kid, obviously you're a grown man, but like a kid at the time, and in my eyes, like a kid at the time, like, had other things going on. Like, he addressed them and he came back and he played ball. And so, like, and I'll just kind of, like, reiterate everything that, Dugan had said earlier. when I brought your name to like all my buddies, right, who've been season ticket holders, this, that, and everybody just like, I love Jermaine Bondurant, man. Like, that's awesome that you're having him on. So I hope
And
you can just like take some peace with it and saying that, hey, it all, like, everybody has a good memory. And I hopefully that you can, lean on some of those too.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I love all the fans and everybody that was involved, because I'm only saying this because I haven't said it, and this is just the truth. Like, even when I left, bro, like when I went home after that meeting, I cried, bro. I was just sitting there crying. I'm like, bro, what did I do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, to be in this position and deserve this when I've been busting my ass for this coaching staff. Like,
And
I'm
balling,
out there, and at the end of the day, the players keep your job. Like, I was out there making sure you had a job as well. You was able to live in that big house and move your family and your kids to have everything, because we were out there putting in that work, and I was a big part of that. And I tell people this all the time. Like I mentioned, I've never had a complaint about Jermaine Bondurant from a teammate. Even now, when I see people now out here, because I live back in Tucson, so when I'm out here and I'm at these events, or I go to U of A, or even when I'm just somewhere and somebody recognizes me from that many years ago, like, you're Jermaine Bondurant, like, man, I was a huge
you got to wear the jersey more often,
man, bro.
You got to wear
like,
the jersey everywhere you go, because like, when the helmet is so hard, but if you wear the jersey, everybody, I'm telling you, you'll have a crowd.
I had my son wear it. We went to a U of A game.
There you go. Yeah.
And I had my son wear the jersey, and we were in line going into the game. And I mean, like 20 people was like, Bondurant. Like, man, what? Like, man, you're my favorite player. So like,
oh man,
like, honestly, after all of it happened, and like I said, I went home, and my biggest thing was, I can't leave my guys. You know what I'm saying? No matter how mad I am right now, and even if this situation isn't ideal, I can't leave Jared Tevis. I can't leave Marquise Flowers, Shaquille Richardson, Jonathan McKnight, like these guys that I really made this transition with, even with the coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we went through hell. So that was my biggest thing. Like, I got to go back for my guys and finish this out. And, they're calling me, come back. It was already in the paper, like, he quit, all this. But, they were calling me and please come back and all the stuff. So I came back, and then I had to go through a lot. Honestly, at that time, the mother of my child, she was pregnant, and she was like in her last trimester, bro. So, it was wild during this moment, because, my discipline was, I'm suspended the first 3 games. I won't start. I'll play the third down packages and all that. But I was suspended the first 3 games, and I couldn't practice really basically for like the first 2 or 3 weeks of camp. So every day, my schedule was, I had to wake up and work out with Rich Rod and the guys that were basically loafing at practice, which was a 5 a.m. workout. And then after that, I would go to class, and then I would come back, work out again, and do like my own individual workout, go to class, go to study hall, come back, and then I would have to do the run. Even if it wasn't a running day, I had to do the run that they used to make us do, which was insane. And then I would go to class and then come back, watch film, and then and then even before I got to watch film, I used to have to do the stadiums. So I used to walk the stadiums with a chest vest and leg vest all the way around. And back every day, bro, for like 3 weeks, right? And so like, I was away from the mother of my child while she, every night she's calling me, she's crying, or she, I mean, she's emotional, she's super emotional at this time.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm saying, I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with, I'm getting asked questions every day by the guys, what happened, and I'm not trying to throw Rich Rod under the bus, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'm like, I still want to play, and
it's still your coach.
You know what I'm saying? He's still my coach, and I gotta I gotta do what I gotta do to play. And I'm not gonna say I disliked Rich Rod. I just didn't like the person he was and how he treated his players. I'll say that. His wife was
Yeah, I think
amazing. Like, shout out her. She was amazing because she had my back through all that. She used to be telling him, like, he doesn't deserve this. Like, he's a good kid. Like, but he wanted to prove his point. He wanted to show me that he was the boss.
Oh man.
And I got to experience that, right? I got to experience like the higher level politics, right? Of a sport that we just love to do. We grow up loving to do. We never think it's gonna get political. We never think that
Yeah.
it's gonna come down to where you're from or your dad was in prison when you were a kid or stuff like that, where you're like, bro,
You shouldn't, man.
it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with my play. So, but I kept it playing the whole time. Like, I just took it on the chin. It was days I went home, bro. I couldn't walk. Like, where my brother would have to help me up. My brother and my girl and my friends would have to help me up. I was so sore, bro. But I was in great shape though. Like, I was in because all it was, I knew they just want to break me, right? They want to break me. They want me to quit. He wants to sell this narrative. So he wants to make this story come to life. And I was just like, I'm not gonna break. You know what I'm saying? I already done made it through this so far with this
Sounds
guy.
like a movie, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it will be a movie coming, a documentary and everything. And I'll let you guys know, because maybe I can have you guys do some interview stuff.
Yeah.
But like, all that happened, bro, and I just thugged it out, bro. And then I never forget when I knew I won. This is when I knew I won in the situation. So camp's going now. Finally, I'm practicing, and it's like, he didn't want me to practice in camp because he didn't want me to look better than the guy he was trying to replace me with. So I'm doing stadiums while they're practicing every day. I'm just walking up and down nonstop, the whole practice. Then I started practicing, and then they got me with like the 3s and 4s, so I'm not getting a lot of reps. It's just stuff like that where they just continuing to try to break me. I kept fighting. So then we get to the end of camp. I'm doing my thing when I get in. I got a little vendetta, so I'm at practice tearing shit up. Like, I'm getting interceptions, I'm forcing fumbles, I'm hitting people. He said he wanted us to be physical, and I'm being physical. Like, I'm coming after everybody.
You got that hard edge, bro.
Yeah, like I'm for real. Like, I had to turn it on him. So
just a matter of time.
I'm showing him like, hey, y'all think y'all could go without me? Good luck. So we have the conditioning test at the end of camp. I passed the test. We talk, and then this is like his wife. They used to give out this nacho dip every week to, like, a person that's either been through something or made it through the week, all that, all that shit.
So random.
So they used to do that, and after we did the test, his wife chooses me, right? So, because usually he'll do it and okay, this is mine. So she did her own thing on the side, like, and just butted in, like. And I got one more. I want to give this one from me, personally, from myself, because, like, he didn't acknowledge me. He didn't acknowledge that he put me through hell and I made it through. So she does that. Now I could tell he felt like, I'm sure he felt some way about it. Because I could just see it on his face. And she gave it to me. The whole team was happy,
Yeah.
Just like, because every day people are like, bro, this ain't right, bro. Like, they shouldn't be doing this to you. Like, you one of our best players. Like, and you're a leader on our team. Like, everybody loves you. Like, I don't get this. So I'm hearing that too. So it's like, but I'm like, bro, quit talking to me. Like, like, I love y'all, bro, but like, I really got to have my mind right to even make it through this. So, like, and then I get the nacho dip. I'm walking off the field. She's showing me mad love. And then he comes up to me like, yeah, man, like, I didn't think you were going to do it. I'm proud of you. And like, how did you pass the test? Like, how did you do it? He's like, and I was like, Coach, I'm in shape. And he was like, man, I don't know if you're just strong-willed or you're strong mentally or you this, but where you come from, you got so much stock on you that you can get through anything. But he was like, you did it. Like, and so then now I'm okay. I made it through camps here. Now I'm back regularly practicing. I'm with the twos, and all of that. And then
nacho dip, man.
And then it was like season comes.
You had the nacho dip.
Yeah, like then the nacho dip come, and now it's like, okay, I got to treat him somewhat better because I actually need him.
Yeah.
So I need him. So I need him to play. So now, I'm playing the other position. I'm at camp. I'm doing it. this shit is easy, like, cause I'm like, I do this shit, like I'm one of them guys, like, and I'm just like, I'm ready to do whatever at this point because I done did all of this shit, like, I'm been on the grind, like it is what it is. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play with my brothers, get out of here and go to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And so I come back, and then, going into the season, they still tried me, bro. Like they still tried me.
Yeah.
These games come, they wasn't playing me. And then, I'm being a man. I'm like, all right, 3 games. I play the third downs. But when we start league ball and it's time for Pac-12 play, which was our 4th game of the year that year, which was the Cal game, where we won on the damn Hail Mary. Like
Austin Hill, baby.
Austin Hill.
Shout out my boy Austin, man. Made me a great player. So we coming into the season and we get to this point and it's like, bro, like I'm first half. I'm like, they really not starting me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this can't be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, they told me this was my punishment. I did everything they asked. Now it's time to do your part. And I mean, I know if y'all remember that game, I mean, Jared Goff came out first half just cooking us. Like,
yeah.
Like they were cooking us, and I'm just on the sideline, like, yeah, I'm transferring. This is it. Like,
I'm going to West Virginia.
Like, I'm about to leave. I had Oregon connections, and I'm like, I'm going. Like, even if I got to sit out a year, and you know what I mean, like, at that time you couldn't just do what you wanted.
Totally different game.
So I'm like, my mind is made up. Like, I'm out of here. Like, my teammates, he comes to me, bro, it's gonna be okay. Strength coach comes to me, your time gonna come. I'm like, it is my time. Like, I'm a senior, bro. Like, what are y'all really trying to do? Like, y'all
you only got so much time.
Yeah, like y'all trying to sabotage my senior season, and it's on purpose. So I was just like, all right. And then, as you can see, we getting our ass kicked. I'm in the locker room. I'm literally about to start taking stuff off. Like, I'm telling you, I'm pulling off tape. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm good. Like, it is what it is. They gonna do what they do. I wish them the best. Cause like I was holding it in. I was trying my hardest, like, to just be there for my team. Like, that was my main thing. And then we come out second half. The first play I go in, I get an interception. And then I recover the onside kick. They all of a sudden they stopped scoring on us. They were scoring so easy at first, and then all of a sudden the game started like, oh, why is the offense not moving the ball? And like I always tell people, I don't like taking credit for nothing, because football is the ultimate team game, and I love all of my teammates, everyone I played with. But from the day I started playing in that UCLA game, I feel like I had a big change in the program, as far as like being one of those guys that helped change the program for the better. So like you said, man, I got a lot of peace with it now, because I do know that I was loved. I do know that, being on here with y'all, you know what I'm saying? It's a clear indication of like, people do respect what I've done. People do appreciate what I've done, and I appreciate them for, always showing me love, because people tell me all the time, and I made the all-decade team. So, I mean, I'm super blessed, bro. I'm super blessed.
By the way, the week after the Cal, you had an absolutely monster game against SC where y'all almost beat them.
Yeah.
So, hey, the streets know, bro. The streets know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you though, like with Coach Lee, leaving Arizona and going to West Virginia, was that ever a thought? Because I know you said they were kind of buttering you up, probably because they probably knew that you were going to be looking around. Was West Virginia ever like a spot you were like seriously looking at?
Yeah, I was when I reached out to Coach Gibson after that team meeting, and he told me he was going back to West Virginia. I was kind of like, shh. Like, then there was the other side of it. Like, I just made a name for myself. Like, everybody knows me.
Yeah.
And again, bro, it was my teammates. Like,
yeah.
Maybe if I was a little bit more selfish, maybe I could have went somewhere else. But like, I really loved my teammates and like the people that I was with. And I just believed in myself. Like, all right, I just got to prove it again. You know what I'm saying? I got to show these guys that I'm that All-American kid that was there last year. So, like, I was with all of that. I was the underdog. I was the guy that didn't have a lot of offers. I was in that mode. Like, none of these guys
got it out the mud. Yeah. That 2014 team too, man. I don't blame you for wanting to stay. Like, that team, every Wildcat fan I talked to, Like the teams that they remember, obviously this past year, beating Oklahoma, that's awesome. But that 2014 team where we go to the Fiesta Bowl, even though we didn't win, like that team is looked at like legendary team. And you could tell that y'all were tight. You know what I mean? Like everybody from Kadeem Carey to Jared Tevis to you to Will, whoever, like y'all were fighting for each other. So hearing your story, and I'm glad you told it, man. I'm glad that it's out there now because I'm like Henny said, I remember when that happened because I was on campus. That was my senior year. I remember getting like the Twitter notification that, you had left the team or whatever and being like, dude, what the hell's going on? Like Tremaine Bondurant leaving the team. What the hell? And so hearing it from your side of things is refreshing because even now when you go back and look at the articles, all it ever talks about is that your cousin passed away, unfortunately, and that you just didn't want to do any of the off-season workouts. That's what the narrative is, right? And obviously that comes from the head coach. So it's refreshing as a Wildcat fan to hear it from a player's like side because I think a lot of us knew that. Like what Henny was saying, we knew the work that you would put in. We saw all the games that you balled out. That I meant what I said on Twitter and how you and I even came to be was like I was sure you were going to be an NFL player because you had that talent. You were a ball hawk. You were always making plays. So I guess really the other question I have for you about that 2014 season is, did that play a role in like you not getting drafted? Was like, do you feel like Rich Rod put out? Maybe you don't even have to say that, but like, do you feel like that coaching staff maybe didn't speak highly of you, and that's why like the NFL didn't come calling, or what happened with that? Because you had the talent, bro. You were there.
Yeah.
You were just as, in my opinion, you were just as good as Marquise Flowers, who was a Bengal. Just as good as Will Parks, who got drafted by the Broncos. Which, by the way, Will Parks owes me $100 from back in the day. If you're watching, Will, I remember I hooked you up at Sprint. So. But you had more talent than all those guys. And like I told you at the beginning of the show, it just seemed like you kind of disappeared.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, like just going back to all of it, it's like, like that 2014 team. I mean, you said it perfect, right? We were fighting for each other because we were fighting. I mean, like we were fighting just to get through the season, stay on the team. You know what I'm saying? People were fighting for me. So a lot of that season was like people like rallying around like, let's stop the bullshit with Tremaine and let's go win. You know what I'm saying? Like cut this out. This is the guy. You know what I'm saying? Let's not make this like we're against him. Because that's another thing. Like they tried to make it seem like the team was against me. Like everybody was like, oh, he's like, come on, bro. You think I didn't do no off-season workouts? Like, I mean, like, I just didn't do the ones that weren't mandatory all the time because I chose to do my own workouts.
Your specialty stuff,
So, like I said, I would, and I'm transparent. I've been honest about it. Maybe if I kissed ass more, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe it could have went a different way. I had no connection to these coaches. They had no connection with me. They didn't try to get to know me, and I was always me. I never changed who I was from the moment they see me. I just never, like, they never tried to build like I tell people, I've never played sports and didn't like my coach. Until I got with these guys. You know what I'm saying? And I still got love for them. I still appreciate them for the opportunities and even, keeping me involved in the program as far as letting me play because I was good enough to play. But as far as the NFL thing, like I knew the 2014 team, I knew it was going to be special because all of those guys that were special were Stoops guys. And then we had, and then we did
that math too when we were going through the roster.
You know what I'm saying? Like mostly on offense.
We did that math too.
Like offense was his guys. Like, because Kadeem wasn't there that year. So
New Solomon.
You know what I'm saying? All those guys were his guys. You know what I'm saying? Like on defense, this is Stoops era boys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We holding shit down. You know what I mean? Like it was a little mixtures in there, and Will was in there and a couple of guys, but like no, the guys that made the plays, if you really think about that, those teams in general, besides Scooby, the guys that made the plays were me, Jordan Grandin, Shaquille Richardson, Jonathan McKnight, Jared Tevis. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he got
and
lucky
then,
with Scooby too, by the way.
yeah, and then you
Like,
get Scooby, and then and the defense was tailored for Scooby to look good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and he was a perfect player for it. He had a motor like no other.
yeah,
He ran. So it was like, okay, plug these holes for him to run through. You know what I'm saying? And he did a great job. I love that. Scooby, one of my favorite teammates of all time that I played with. I just
sure,
loved him. He played hard, and he can vouch for me too. Like, I made his life easier.
yeah,
So, and then like the NFL part, bro, like when I came out, I mean, I don't know if you guys were seeing articles, but like when they were putting out articles when I was coming out, and I'm up there, it's me and Landon Collins, right? Is the
yeah,
guys, the number one safeties, you know, one A, 1B, and my stats were a little bit better. And I feel like I was better than him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I was really one of the best safeties in the nation. I feel like
definitely,
if somebody would have gave me a shot, they would have got a gym. Just like at Arizona, they gave me a shot, they got a gym. Nobody knew about me until then. So, and then, you know, I was training in Seattle, Washington. I was out there with Tracy Ford. It was dope, man. It was a great experience. All through that process, I'm talking to all the teams. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's calling me. I had an agent at the time, and I'm talking to teams. Teams are calling me. I'm having these conversations and all of this. I got invited to the All-Star game in Texas that I played in. And then after pro day, bro, after pro day, I had a good pro day. When I left pro day, you know, that's when they start talking to the coaches and they go meet with
yeah,
them. After pro day, bro, my calls went down. You
mm,
know, like everything lowered. So I knew right then and there that something was off, and I knew, and I want to make this clear. This ain't just about me, because Jordan Grant and Jared Tevis, all of these guys, right? They were NFL players too.
yeah,
Like, and either like another thing we gotta think about, that team went to the Fiesta Bowl. That team won the Pac-12 South. Why nobody get drafted?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, how? It does that if you're a top 10 team in the nation, you should at least get 2 or 3 players drafted, or at least picked up, practice,
yeah,
something, right? So I mean, I've talked to all my boys. We talked after pro days. We all had decent pro days, you know, like, and my pro day was good for what they wanted me to do. So I come out, boom, you know, I'm talking to my guys. They like, yeah, man, now ain't nobody calling me. So when I knew for a fact that it was my coaching staff, was when I was at the All-Star game in Texas, and I was meeting with NFL teams. Now I'm meeting with everybody, right? I'm like, and these meetings are team requested. So it ain't like everybody's just meeting with everybody. You know, this team has to request you based off, you know, what they know about you and then how you've been doing at practice. And
right,
I'm at the practice at the game. I'm doing my thing. You feel me? I'm getting picks, one-on-ones. I'm winning them when we scrimmaging. Y'all know how I get down. I'm getting
yeah,
down, right? So, and then I'm right. They did like an interview on me and like a big article on me at the All-Star game, because I was doing good in practice. So they was like pumping me up, putting me out there. Then I started meeting with these teams. I was meeting with the Ravens, and this
ooh,
guy, we're talking, and
there we go,
the guy comes up to me and says, as we're sitting down, you know, we blah blah blah, name, what's your name, this, that, and then right away, bow, goes right into, so your dad was in prison when you were a kid, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, my dad went to prison when I was a kid. I was 3 years old though, so I don't remember none of it. You know what I mean? Like, I know about it, but you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, he was a bank robber, right? He went for bank robbery. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, but you know, my dad is out of prison now. He's a working man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And then they bring up my mom. We heard your mom was a gangbanger and all, like, just going into these things, bro, where me knowing, or then they brought up my cousin dying. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, yeah, we heard you had murders and stuff that happened while you were at Arizona, and this, and you know, you're from Vallejo, like it's a crazy city. So you know, if we draft you, you can't bring all your homies with you, and like just stuff like that,
Just judging you.
judging me, right? So
Yeah,
me being who I am, being smart and being raised right, and I was great with media, so like that was my thing. I love stuff like that, so I went straight back at him like, look, sir, I get what you're saying, and all of that stuff is in the past, and it really don't got nothing to do with me. I was like, I was a baby when all of that was happening, and some of it I wasn't even born yet. You bring it
Yeah.
up, so, and I'm like, but that should tell you a lot about me that I'm sitting with you right now. And I'm here talking to NFL teams. I'm at this All-Star game with a chance to go to play at the highest level. So that should tell you the type of player, the character, everything that I am. You know what I mean? And I had to deal with that with like interviews that whole weekend where that it kept coming up. And I'm like, this is from my coaches. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, they would have to, I mean, obviously they do their research, but I'm not going to be the top 10 pick. So they're not going to go in all of my history to really, really try to figure out, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, this is coming directly from the staff. And that's when I knew. And then like it started slowing down, and then, the draft come. Like, honestly, I really thought I was going to get drafted. Like even my agent, I was hearing it from teams. They were calling me. So I was expecting to get drafted like 3rd, 4th, 5th round, even if I would have took any round, to be honest. And then, then after the draft come, like I broke down. I'm not gonna lie, I broke down because I just knew like I've done everything in my power, the correct way, the right way, the character way, the image way, whatever you want to call it. I did everything right, but it's like these guys' word is overpowering my play.
Yeah.
And who I really am as a person, because anybody that know me know everything that they spent on me is not me, bro. It's not even close. So, then the draft come, and then now, it's the other calls to try to see about workouts and making it practice squad, like to where I'm talking to teams. They're like, yeah, we got you on our list for practice squad, or you know what I'm saying, but we got you on the bottom of our list because it's some character and some just bringing up these, like saying stuff like that. And then some teams would say I'm too small, or stuff like that. But I'm like, man, watch the tape. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many small guys in the league that's doing great things. So then I went like 2 years after that, workouts, going to teams, and you know how I go, going to the camps and going to the stuff, just showing up, trying to get in, and just kept doing it. And then it got to a point where I'm just like I don't know if this is what, if this is really supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Like with all of this I just went through and experienced. You know what I'm saying? Because we know everybody don't make it to the league. It's, everybody can't go.
Yeah.
It's so many players like me that was great players that didn't get opportunities. Like I said, even my teammates that I still, to this day, feel for and be like, bro, like, it's no way. Like, and if you, like you said, that 2004, if you watched us play and you watched our defense, I was on defense, so offense was offense. But on defense, we had some ballers that made plays that were great players that didn't get a shot at all. Like not even a lither of a shot. You know what I mean? And it's like, how can that team that made history, that was basically compared to Desert Swarm and going back to bringing, that university back to the promise and the vision that it should be, you know what I mean? Like, and then none of us get rewarded for that. None of us, so, and like disappearing, it was like for a while I was messed up, bro. Like I always had music. So like music saved me because I was able to tell my story through my music.
Yeah.
And like, that was kind of like my venting area where I can like let some of that stuff out. But I was going through a lot. Like I still was trying. And then they asked me to go overseas, but my son was born.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was a little baby, and it was like they wasn't really trying to give me no, like, I love the game, but you know what I'm saying? We got to take care of our families too. You know what I mean? So, and they was
got mouths to feed, man.
Yeah, so they was trying to give me like a scholarship type thing out there, like we'll pay for your living, but you don't make any money. And I'm like, well, that ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So then I just kept pushing to the NFL. Like I can get in here. Like I remember I went and worked out with the Niners. Like the Niners should have picked me up at that time. They needed a safety. They needed somebody to make a play. This was before they started going on their run. So it's like, I wish they would have picked me up. Hometown kid, obviously from the Bay Area, so it would have made sense. And then, you watching other guys get picked up. Then like I said, the next year, I want to say the 2015 season, they went to like one of the worst bowls you can go to, and they got guys drafted. So, you know what I mean? So you look at it like, you know what I mean? From when you're on the other side of it, you just like, damn, like, I know I was 10 times better than this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, like, and there's no knock to those guys, but it's like, there's a difference between a Tremaine Bondurant and a Scooby and then other guys. You know what I mean? Like, in the show on the field. So, that was like my journey with that. You know what I mean? Like, I went through the process, like, and I tried, I tried, bro. Like I went to so many workouts. I was calling teams. Like, I was showing up at shit too as well. Like, just trying to get an opportunity. And then it was like, damn, I'm just not getting one. Nobody's seeing it. And then it's like that character thing kept coming up. Like, oh, well, we don't know. We'll give you a chance. Because, like, some people even saying Rich Rod name directly to me. Like, well, I talked to Rich Rod and he said, like, you're a great player. You're a good guy. But, basically you don't kiss ass. So, you know what I mean? Like, and, at that time, that's when the league was trying to get away from all of, because a lot of players were getting in trouble, domestic violence. It was stuff like that. So that was like even at the draft, all you heard was this guy's character. Like, I remember watching the draft, he's a great kid. He's a great guy. He comes from a great family. That's all you was hearing the whole draft. I'm like, Mel Kiper, all these guys. That's all I was hearing. I'm like, but these guys, like, then I'm seeing certain guys get drafted. I'm like, bro, I'm 10 times better. And like, even when I'm seeing their stats, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you get drafted and you don't have an interception? You know what I mean?
Wild.
So, that was my experience. At the end of the day, I'm grateful, bro. Like, that I got to experience. One of the first people in my family to even get to that point or even have those opportunities. So, you mean, like, yeah, it was tough a couple of, years after, and me trying to heal from it and get over it, and, just understand it, right? And understand even more of the business and how things work and how these coaches can, because I've seen it happen to other guys now. So it's sad, man. Maybe if I was in this era, things would be different. Maybe if I played for Coach Brennan and their staff, things could be different. Guys that want to get guys to the league.
Yeah.
It looks better to the university, the more guys. That's how you get recruits.
Absolutely.
That makes people want to come. So, everything happened for a reason, because what you put out there and the bad you do, it always comes back. And you seen what happened after we left, right?
Yeah.
It just, everything went downhill.
Never got to that point again.
Never got to that point again until last year. So I want to shout out to the team from last year, because that team reminded me a lot of our 2014 team. A lot of playmaking, turnovers, a lot of togetherness when they play. And I see it, like, Arizona football is in good hands right now from the players, because I always speak from the players' perspective first. Like, the players, they got some great players, and the coaching staff so far that I've been around and been experiencing with are just great guys. They want to be involved with the alumni. They want us around.
Yeah.
And they appreciate my worth. You know what I'm saying? They appreciate what I've done. I mean, I was recently there, and I had a guy tell me, Rich Rod didn't want to get you drafted.
Oh, wow.
Just tell me straight up, though. Like, so I told him, I said, well, I need to be up in the Ring of Honor. Y'all need to put me in the Ring of Honor.
Got to make it right.
You know what I'm saying? I should be the next guy to be in the Ring of Honor. But all in all, bro, like, I love the university. You know what I'm saying? I love my experiences. The draft process, it didn't go in my way. The league didn't go my way, but a lot of things have gone my way. I have a wonderful son that's playing ball now that is really good.
I love that.
And I'm coaching kids, man, in the same community that I went to college in, and I'm able to take them to the university and give them experiences and stuff that they'll never forget. And, my goal is to eventually continue to stay involved with the university, become a GA or become a coach, and help funnel kids to the university and give kids scholarships and change kids' lives and be a part of something even bigger. Because I think, everything happened to me was for me to be in this position now where I'm at, coming back full circle and just like being here for the kids in the community. And like, we're going to send a lot of kids to college. We're going to sing and they ain't going to have to worry about me ever bad mouthing them or trying to prevent them to fulfill their dream. Because that's what this shit is about. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to want the kids that you teach and you coach and that you help become young men get to their dream. So I'm excited for the future of Arizona football too. Like, and I'm excited where I'm at with my youth program and the kids I'm with, and being able to be on here and like hearing you guys, just the love that y'all showing me and the things that y'all saying about my skills and me being a player at the U of A. That should mean a lot to me because like, again, I never got to tell my side. I never got to really put this out there for people to even know because I took it on the chin and I ran with it and I got over it and it is what it is. So I could be the guy, oh, forget Arizona and all that.
Yeah.
But like, they saved my life, bro. So, it's only right that I'm here and where I'm at.
I love that, man, because that was one of my questions for you, and you already kind of answered it. It was just like, with all that stuff going down, man, all that bullshit, because that's what it was, like it truly was. It was an agenda. It was unfair. Like you very easily could have been like, hey, fuck Arizona. I'm not going to stay in Tucson. I'm not going to do anything. I'm getting the hell out of here. But you stuck around, man. You're like you said, you're in Tucson. You got the Tucson Soldiers. Shout out. What kept you here? Was it the university? Was it just the love that you feel in the area? Like, what kept you in Tucson?
Honestly, I moved like after I was done, as far as like doing the NFL. I was in California where I'm from and like in my neighborhood for a couple of years, and then like, obviously, right where I'm from is different. It's violence, and I'm not saying it's horrible, but it's just it comes with it. So I was pushing and doing all my stuff, working with kids, doing my music, working on my businesses and stuff like that, with my brand from my music and, raising my son, like just trying to become a better man, a better father.
Yeah.
And I think like, my cousin, one of my younger cousins who I used to have with me in Arizona as a little boy, he used to stay with me, for periods of time while I was at Arizona, just because he was my little cousin and he ended up getting murdered a couple years ago. And that like broke the camel's back. You know what I mean? Like, it's time for me to, move on. Like, no matter where that was, I just knew like it's time to go. Like, I've outgrown this place and I love my city. I love everything about it. It made me who I am. We have a lot of legendary people that come from the small city of Vallejo, and just in the Bay Area as a whole. But like, that was it for me. I was like, I got to get my son in a better environment. I want my son to be somewhere where I know he's safe. And things happen everywhere, but like, it's just a difference. And Arizona was obviously familiar. I'm comfortable with it. I know I had friends that I went to school with that stayed here even after I left. So it was a no-brainer for me to come back. And honestly, when I came back, it was different because I know that like Rich Rod wasn't here, but I know that Jeff Fish was here. So I would try to like get involved with the university, and that's not to them, but like, the district staff is a little bit more open to everybody. So, and I just came back, bro, and then I just brought my son out here, and I'm just like, I'm in this community again. Like, that's what I was telling you. Like, I'm running into people that are recognizing me.
I love that. Yeah.
Like, and then I'm going to games, and I'll go to this, or I'll just be at a restaurant, or I'll be here, or I'll have my Fiesta Bowl gear on. People, you played the Fiesta Bowl, and they'll see my name, and so like that brought made me even want to stay more. And then my son is happy. He's smiling. He's like he's having the time of his life. The community has become a community that loves me and my son and my family. And I just started. My son was playing flag, and I was like, you know what? I seen some things where I was like, all right, I'm gonna start coaching.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get involved in the community because I want to help the kids, like genuinely, not just the coach, but like I really, I want to help kids how I got help because I was that kid. I was that kid that was always with other families and traveling with other families, and that kid that didn't have the dad in the household, and or just got the dad and no mom. You know what I'm saying? So like these kids have been my lifesaver, like being with these kids, coaching them, getting to know them. So that really brought me back to the community, and I was just like, I love it out here. I never didn't like Tucson. It was a
Yeah.
culture shock, obviously, when I first came here. Like
Yeah.
super different from my community, but the great thing about Vallejo is that it's a very diverse city. So we have a lot of different races and cultures. So I was already kind of used to that.
Yeah.
But I love Tucson, man. Like it's nothing bad I'll say about Tucson. It's very chill. I love just like, the weather's always the weather. Um, but other than that, the community has welcomed us open arms. My son is doing incredible in sports, and he's starting to gain, like since I've been here, he's gained so much love for him. You know what I mean? And he just last year, he's his first year tackle. He played so great and, took us to the city championship. So my first year coaching youth football, we won the city championship last year.
Wow.
And all of our kids, man, and my son and all these kids, man, they did a great job. They bought into our program and how we get down and how we do things. And, and we just on this journey. We just started our new team. So, I'm just excited. I love Tucson. I appreciate it. I'm ready to continue to do a lot for the community and just staying involved with the university so I can, have those resources as well.
Yeah.
But it's a blessing, bro.
I love it, man. And I'm a father myself. I got 2 little girls, and to hear that your son gets to grow up with people around him that are shouting out his dad, I can only imagine how cool that freaking is, dude. So
Yeah.
shout out to you being a terrific father. I hope that, the coaching staff continues to, extend that olive branch out to you. You can have a deeper, relationship with that squad. Because hey, this university needs more Tremaine Bondurant. That's all I gotta say, man.
Amen to that. Amen.
Henny, you got anything else, man?
No, I don't have. I mean, look, man. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Like just to keep it light, I would have just two quick hitters, and you don't gotta like give me, one. Do you think those uniforms you all were wearing were some of the worst? And are you like so glad that these ones are back? I don't know why they made you dress like that. And then my second, along the similar lines, and I'll just play. Like Wilbur the mascot, like at some point in his life he had guns, and he doesn't have guns, and this isn't like political, but is he cooler with guns or am I crazy?
All right. So number one, the jerseys are way better now.
No gradient.
Yeah, our jerseys were real simple. Again, not pouring into the athletes, right?
Yeah.
Wilbur's always cool. Always loved Wilbur. I do think we are the Wild Wild West. So
that's what I'm saying.
We could get a couple of these sometime.
That's all I'm saying. Just once, maybe just throw it as an alternate. Yeah, maybe it's his alternate outfit.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't have to have them all the time. I get it. He's got to hang around kids. I'm not trying to promote anything here unsavory, but I'm just saying, like every now and then for a little extra. It's a big game. Maybe get the guns out.
So my last thing I'll say before we end, I do want to shout out my youth program, Tucson Soldiers. And I just want to say that we are a nonprofit. So if there's anybody out there that can, this is our first year as a new organization. So we are bringing a whole different flavor, a whole different style of play, a whole different mindset. It's a new era, what we call it. I like to call myself, the youth football coach prime right now.
I love it.
Just because we're doing things so different and people don't like different, right? So anybody out there that want to support the youth, support the kids, man, want to do anything in any way to help with, whether help us get gear, help us get jerseys, if you have any connections.
It is tax season, by the way.
Yeah, it is tax season, so anything can help, man. I definitely wanted to put that out here, and we also have a barbecue this Saturday at Jacobs Park, and it'll be from 8. We'll be out there early, but it'll be from noon to 4 o'clock. So noon to 4 p.m. Even if you just want to come out, get some good food, we got sponsors there. We're gonna have food there. We're gonna have a jumper. It's gonna be like a family barbecue, really, a real family barbecue with games. Yeah. We'll do parents versus kids, coaches versus kids, have activities. But we just want to, have the community come out, come show us some love, support us, see what our program is about. And if you got kids, bring them out. Any kids from 5 to 13 right now, we truly are focusing only really up to 11U. But if we get a bunch of 13, 12-year-olds to come out, I know it's harder to leave a team at that age because you've been around a team for so long, and we respect loyalty. But if you got some kids that really want to ball and get some great coaching, we got a lot of D1 coaches on staff. We got University of Arizona support in many ways in the future coming up. But we just want to, I just want to put that out there for my kids, man, because these kids deserve it. These kids really need positive role models and positive coaches and good people in their lives, because you never know what these kids are going through. So I just wanted to put that out there for the youth, and that goes for any youth, like any kids in Tucson that want to train. I do personal training. So if you want to train, just hit me up, Peace God MF on Instagram, or you can hit the Tucson Soldiers Instagram as well. But we here for the youth. We here to help the kids. And I mean, we want to make sure that their experience is the best of the best. So, and you got platforms like this, man, support this platform as well. You know what I'm saying? Because, it's important that we got people like y'all spreading the word about Tucson and spreading the word about sports in general and life lessons and the U of A and everything that goes on and all the stuff involved around that. And you guys, it's a blessing to have guys that's been around, that's been there, that are true fans, that really love it. So I'm just honored to be on here, man. Like you guys are great, bro. And I want to say that because like, this is my first time really talking to anybody, from any of this, from Arizona to, I've been on radios for music and stuff like that, but this is the real deal. This is what really matters because it's genuine and it's true. So I appreciate y'all, man.
We appreciate you, man. And hey, like Jermaine said, like go check out the Instagram, go hit him up. If you want to like make a difference in these kids' lives, hit them up in the DMs. I challenge all of you guys to do that, right? Like if you believe in the community, you want to see a better tomorrow for these kids, Jermaine's your guy, right? So help him out, help these kids out. Go out to Jacobs Park this weekend. And Jermaine, hey man, you're welcome anytime on the show. We love you, man. Hopefully we can go see you at some of these games this season. I'm sure you're probably going to be taking your son out there, supporting the squad. Sir. So hey, you're welcome anytime. We appreciate you coming on and bear down, go Cats, and we appreciate everything you did for the U of A, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I'll definitely be back in. Let's link up for some games, man. Let's do that.
Sir.
Let's make it a friendship.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you, man. Thanks for joining, and everybody else, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Peace, God.